the range to myself, and I could pretty much go at my own pace rather than 5 at a time, and I could pretty much do this. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I want you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you've ever passed gas at the range when you thought no one was there. I, on the other hand, do it when people are there. I figure if they're breathing in lead and gunpowder, what's a little backdoor flatulence, right? So welcome back to the channel, guys. I took a little break from posting because I was feeling that these tabletops were a little bit boring for you guys, not being able to actually see some of these pistols in action. So now that the clubs are starting to reopen, I was able to get a little bit of footage, which I'm gonna periodically roll in and out, just so you could see some of these pistols actually performing, give you an idea of how the recoil impulse is, how they come back on target, and just, you know, the inner workings of a pistol and how they actually function rather than just looking at it at tabletop. So up here in Canada, we buy a gun and we don't get it right away. We have to wait for the chief firearms officer to approve it. This was purchased in March. Took 62 days to get approved. 62 days for the RCMP to say, hey, this guy already owns plenty of guns. He's buying another one. Let's make him wait almost 10 weeks. Anyways, it is what it is, guys. It showed up and I had a chance to fire it. I had mentioned it a couple times, but here it is. So we'll give you a sneak peek. I had mentioned the CZ orange a couple times. So here it is. You've got the custom shop orange. You've got the gas pedal, extended mag release, beautiful long barrel, pretty hefty. We'll dive on in, but I just wanted to show you quickly, give you an idea of what comes in the box. So this is actually a pretty big box. I've never received a pistol. Even my 8-inch Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum came in a smaller box. So in the box, you get a little tiny loader, CD. Nice touch, which I'm surprised more and more pistols don't do, especially once you start getting past the $800 mark. Like, give us spare parts. Like, why do you cheap out on springs and, you know, just like little buffers and even Allen keys to remove things? Like, give us these parts. Jeez, you're charging enough. Comes with some oil, some nice lubricant, recoil springs, some brushes, and 3 magazines. So these magazines have the orange base plates. This one's loose. Why is that loose? Huh. So this one's loose. I'm gonna have to work on that one. But they come with nice base plates that you know, will aid in dropping. I would never drop these though because they're just way too pretty. I wouldn't want to damage them. I don't know why that's loose, but anyways. So let's take a look at this pistol. So for many of you, I'm not sure if you know much about this, but I believe this is, well, it's built off the 75 platform. You know, the same thing that all the IPSC shooters use, the CZ Shadow 1, Shadow 2, SPO1. They've got the Tactical, they've got a whole bunch. So this one is called the Tactical Sport. In the normal Tactical Sport, it has a longer barrel, adjustable sights, and I believe it's usually a two-tone frame and slider, different color. But this is the orange model, which goes through the custom shop. And what they do is they do some hand fitting with the barrel. They do some polishing. It's single action only with a flat polymer trigger and extended magazine release, gas pedal, thumb ride, whatever you want to call it. So this is actually screwed into the frame. I do know that CZ USA Custom, which is not affiliated with CZ from what I've found out, they make a optic mount that fits in these holes. So it's a bridge that mounts on the frame to let you sit your optic. The only problem is the bridge sits so low that you can't take the slide off because of the rear sight. So it's nice if you want to add a red dot. You'll just have to remove it if you do want to field strip the pistol. So you've got an ambi safety, fiber optic front. Come to think of it, I didn't see a replacement fiber optics in the box with the spare parts, so that's a little disappointing because these typically break. I do have extras, but it would have been nice if it came. Adjustable rear serrated blacked out sight in the rear, so that's going to cut down glare. And nice touch, adjustable. The rear strap is checkered, front strap is checkered, beveled there, nice and smooth. Front of the trigger guard is checkered, and then you've got these nice custom orange grips, which I believe come halfway because of the magwell. Third mag, so it does come with 3 magazines with these orange base plates. This one's fine. So all in all, nice pistol. It has a extended slide lock. On the strong side for right-handed shooters, it does have a rather large safety, as you could see that. It comes out pretty big, but on the left side it's pretty flat. The safety's nice. I just find that it kind of gets in the way of my pistol grip when I'm shooting. If I'm trying to use this gas pedal, I find I almost have to ride it, which, you know, I used to do on my 1911s, but I kind of got away from it because if you're riding it and you get accustomed to it, then when I shoot pistols that don't have it, it feels a little weird. So I'm trying to avoid that. Yesterday when I was shooting it, I'll roll some video in, you'll see that I was trying at first not to, and then I was. So, you know, just, it's going to take some getting used to. The one criticism to this pistol has always been, and I'm a little disappointed that they haven't addressed it yet, and for the price I think they really should have, is the magwell. So if you've ever watched a video on this, you've been seeing that they put this magwell on that doesn't actually blend perfectly with the frame. So you hit the magwell here, the magwell is supposed to funnel it into the well, and then you have a lip. So, you know, on the front it's a little bit better, but on the sides and the rear it's pretty bad. And, you know, that was always the issue way back when these first came out. You would think that they've had enough time to correct it. However, they haven't. It's a little frustrating considering that, you know, I paid $100 for a Dawson Precision magwell on my Glock. And Dawson Precision is able to incorporate an aftermarket part into Glock perfectly. And CZ can't even do it on a $2,500 pistol that they created. So it's a little frustrating. I don't plan on using this for IPSC, so I don't think it'll be an issue for me. Just like I said though, you know, when you're paying this much, you would expect it to be a little bit, you know, pay attention to the finer details a little bit better. Other than that, the reason, I'll tell you a little story. The reason I wanted this gun is because when I first saw it at my range, obviously the orange jumped out and grabbed my attention. So I started talking to the guy who had it, and he asked me if I wanted to try it, which of course I said yes. So I was still a relatively new shooter, and you know, this flat trigger was beautiful. And I go to get my grip, and I'm trying to line up my sights, and I'm used to my, you know, piece of crap M&P. So I go to stage the trigger like I have to, and boom. I have, you know, I mean, you would call it an accidental discharge because I wasn't planning on discharging and it went off. Luckily, I was pointed down range like you should always be before you put your finger near the trigger. And it caught me off guard because the trigger was just so light. And I just always remembered that you know, just how great this trigger was. So fast forward a couple years, I finally end up buying the gun because it was on sale. Like I said, guys, this retails for $23.50 plus tax in Canada. I got it for a little bit of a discount. So, you know, still well over $2,000 though. So fast forward a couple years, I've been shooting a bit. I've been spoiled with some nice SIG triggers, some nice 1911 triggers. I've tried many, you know, match guns, STIs. And yesterday when I shot it, I have to admit, I was a little disappointed. It's not what I remembered. And I don't know if that pistol itself had trigger work done or if it's just, you know, memory getting the better of me. But if you look, this trigger, first of all, has creep. Well, not too much, but you see it has a little bit of creep. And I just remember thinking that you just have to breathe on this thing. And I mean, it is light, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not what I remember. Here's the reset. So nice crisp reset. I can't complain about that. Don't get me wrong, great pistol, great trigger, just not what I remembered. And so, you know, yesterday I was shooting it and I was a little, you know, underwhelmed at first, but absolute tack driver. It's got a 5.23 inch barrel, and my first shots, well, I'll try to roll some video in here. All right, so it looks like I tightened up a bit. It's not bad. I don't know if you could see. First shots were a little bit high, but at 25 yards, a little bit high. I made a quick adjustment and I was right in the black. And that's actually pretty good for me because one, I don't shoot slow, I shoot fast. And I never shoot 25 yards other than when I go to my Mississauga club. So so I just don't shoot 25 very well. I'm more of a 10-yard shooter. So I was pleasantly surprised by it. Takedown, you line up those two lines. I haven't taken this down yet, so hopefully it's not a pain. And then you push this out. And then slides forward. So full dust cover, like I said, adds a lot of weight. Really, you'll see, ooh, look how dirty that is, wow. You'll see in the video that there's no muzzle rise whatsoever. CZs ride on the inside of the frame rather than the outside. That's why you don't see any grooves here, because the frame actually rides on the inside, and that helps reduce the bore axis, helps control the muzzle flip, and that's why they're great competition guns. That's why everyone uses the CZ shadows for production. So wow. So I've okay, so they've got this little rubber buffer in there. That's why it wasn't coming out. It wasn't clearing. So guide rod, steel, spring, and then they have this little buffer. I've seen this type of little shock buffer before in a Beretta. Never seen it in, you know, anything else. I'm not sure if they work, but it's there. And I did see some in the case. So you have that little rubber buffer. I guess it's supposed to soften recoil. But here's the star of the show, the oh, this is supposed to come out. The plug. So here's the star of the show. It's the big barrel that's polished. Not really a bull barrel, but you could see it's beautifully polished. Aggressive locking lugs. Nice polished feed ramp. These are supposed to be somewhat hand fitted. I guess it kind of goes through the CZ custom shop. Semi-custom, I'd say, because they're still mass produced in really large volumes. But beautiful barrel, nice and long. Like I said, really helps with accuracy. The fiber optic just glows. It gathers up a lot of light. And then you've got the external extractor. So, you know, pretty much CZ through and through. Not nothing you haven't seen before. Nice barrel though, and very accurate. Back together, same thing. Put the plug in. See if this stupid little buffer goes in nicely. Okay. And again, guys, so it rides on the inside. You see how that rides on the inside? So it goes, and that really helps control the muzzle rise. So again, these two little lines, you just line them up, and then your plug goes through the barrel notch and in just like a 1911 would. And there you have it. So that's takedown. Super easy. Super easy. Specs, this gun is heavy. It is 47.5 ounces without a magazine, so unloaded. 47.5 ounces. To give you an idea, I have Glock here. An empty Glock weighs 22 ounces, so this is twice as heavy as a Glock 17, so even more so than a Glock 19. But you know, with that you get the incredible control. You'll see in the video that the thing's not moving. I was putting it back to back with my Glock, and the Glock definitely had more time back on target. So when I said I like to shoot fast, what I should clarify is that I'm shooting and I'm not pulling that trigger until I see my fiber optic in the black. So I'm not going for pinpoint accuracy, but at 25 yards, we have a 25-yard target. I want to see my front sight in the black, and then I'm trying to shoot the trigger again. So I'm not just aimlessly, you know, pulling as fast as I can. I am trying to get back on target and then discharge the firearm. The Glock, I was using my RMR, and it was noticeably harder because of the recoil impulse was much higher. And that was without me being used to this this gas pedal. So great little pistol. Can't complain. Definitely accurate. Far more accurate than I can ever be. I'm going to try to put a few more rounds through it. I think I only got 60 rounds through it yesterday just to test it. We're limited to half an hour, and we're supposed to be shooting. I belong to a bullseye club, so the idea is you shoot 5, reload, shoot 5. I don't have time for that. You know, we have half an hour. I need to shoot 20 as fast as I can. So that's why you see me shooting a mag and then popping in another one. I was pissing off a few people, but you know what? We only have half an hour, so make the most of your time, right? So that's about it, guys. Not much more to say. Great pistol. I would love to compare it to a regular CZ Shadow 2. I have shot the Shadow 1, and this is much better than the Shadow 1. Again, different guns. This is limited, whereas that would be production, and that's a double action trigger. So I realize it's not fair to compare, but based off the 75 platform, I do like this one a lot better. And you can see the fit and finish is nice. Really tight tolerances there and lock up. Same at the back. You can't ask for more. The only down thing I've always hated with CZs, last thing I'll say, is the fact that they sit on the inside. You know, is really good for recoil mitigation, but I find that it's hard to get a good grip from the front, because these serrations, you know, they're there, but it's still a little tough. Maybe it'll, you know, from the rear it's not bad, but I like to do my front, and sometimes it's a little bit tough because it rides on the inside. It's less surface area to grab. So guys, enjoy the footage. Hope you enjoy this beautiful pistol. I'm going to do a side-by-side with it out at the range when I go to my outdoor range, where I can get better video and show you this compared to like an X5. You know, both $2,000, $2,200 guns, and roughly the same weight. That one has a 5-inch barrel. This is 5.2. So, you know, pretty comparable, and give you a better idea of, you know, how they stack up against each other. But all in all, really happy with this purchase. Love the orange. Absolute stunning. So hit me up if you have any questions. And until next time, guys, keep farting on the range.